Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Strangely enough, all of this didn't start today. Films about reality substitution have been around for a long time. The Truman Show, The 13th Floor, The Matrix. Dozens of stories about simulation, about a fake world, about life inside scenery. They were always in plain sight. Millions watched them. But back then they were perceived as fiction, as philosophy, as a beautiful metaphor. No one left the theater thinking, this is about me. At most, an interesting idea, a clever plot, as if consciousness simply wasn't ready yet. And then something changed. Not suddenly, not sharply, no date on a calendar. But in recent years, these films started to feel different. Not like imagination, but like a hint we didn't know how to read before. As if reality itself began to slightly show through. And it's not about one event, one crisis, or one piece of news. It's about a feeling that the world is no longer whole. Something in it became too smooth, too mechanical, too predictable. And especially, people. Many began to notice something strange. Same faces, same conversations, same emotions, but without depth. As if the person in front of you is following a script, not actually living the moment. Not evil, not bad, just programmed. And this feeling didn't appear in just one person. It became widespread but very quiet. No one shouted, no one announced a replacement. More and more people simply caught the same feeling. Something is wrong, but I can't immediately explain what. Sometimes it happens very quietly. No flashes, no catastrophes, no breaking news. You just wake up in the morning and freeze for a second. Everything seems to be in place. The same apartment, the same city outside the window, the same sounds. But inside, a barely noticeable feeling that something doesn't align. Not anxiety, not fear. More like the sense that the world became slightly different. And no one told you. People's faces look familiar but somehow hollow. The sky looks the same, yet not the same. City sounds reach you as if through a thin film. You brush it off. Lack of sleep, stress, burnout. But then the small things begin. You look at a world map and suddenly think, wait, was it really like this? You see an old logo and feel certain it used to look different. You remember an event as if you lived through it yourself, and the records say it never happened. And somewhere here a thought appears, one that's scary to say out loud. What if it's not me? What if this is no longer the reality I started in? What if this is Earth 2.0? The Mandela Effect is when you remember differently. Earth 2.0 is when you live differently, even if you can't explain exactly what changed. And that's the difference many feel, but don't immediately dare to voice. People don't write about facts, they write about sensations. I can't remember exactly what changed, but inside, there's a persistent feeling that it used to be different. It's like returning to your home and realizing it became a copy, not чужой, not unfamiliar, just not yours. The walls are in the same places. The furniture is arranged correctly. Even the smell is familiar, but you no longer feel that the space recognizes you. On Reddit, in long threads without sensationalism, people from different countries describe the same thing in different words. I no longer feel reality responding to me. Events happen but leave no trace. Days pass but aren't lived. Before, the world responded. Now, it doesn't. And one word keeps appearing again and again. Flat. Not scary. Not hostile. Not destroyed. Flat. As if reality lost its volume. Became two-dimensional. Stopped deepening. Stopped reflecting. People describe it as if the world no longer picks up their presence. You take a step, and no echo returns. You make a decision, but it doesn't unfold into a chain of events. You live a day, and it doesn't anchor inside you. As if the environment was simplified, smoothed out, reduced to a template, switched to economy mode. And the strangest part, this can't be explained by memory errors. Because memory is about the past. This is about the present moment, about how you feel the world now. Not I remember differently, but I live in a different density. And this feeling can't be proven, but it can't be ignored either. Because if the environment really changed, the first thing you lose is not facts, but response. Like a set filled with moving figures but very few living points of contact. People perform actions, say the correct phrases, react according to patterns, but inside there is silence. And here a thought arises that is difficult to express without the risk of being misunderstood. What if the problem is not that people have become worse? What if the environment itself has changed? What if we are living in a version of the world where human presence is no longer a required parameter? Where it is possible to exist on autopilot, on scripts, on reactions? Where being alive is no longer the norm, but a deviation? And if you notice that what you lack is not comfort, not money, not stability, but human density, the feeling that there are living people nearby, perhaps what you are sensing is not nostalgia, but the difference between versions. Between a world where people were carriers of presence and a world where characters without depth are becoming more common. There is a boundary after which talking about bad memory starts to sound strange. When it comes to logos, one can argue. With movies, one can blame quotes or confusion. But there are areas where memory errors stop being harmless. And one of them is the world map. Thousands of people in different countries say the same thing. Not, I heard somewhere, but, I studied geography. I drew maps. I took exams. It looked different. These people are not claiming to know coordinates by heart. They are talking about a visual sense of the world that does not match what they see now. The same examples appear again and again. New Zealand. Many remember it higher and to the right of Australia, almost on the same level. Now it seems shifted downward, offset to the side, as if someone carefully moved it in a new version of the map. South America. In memory, it was positioned almost directly below North America, more vertically aligned. Now it is clearly shifted to the right, stretching toward Europe. Japan. Many are sure it used to be farther from the mainland, more detached. Now it appears unexpectedly close. The official answer is always the same. You learned geography poorly. And that answer would work if we were talking about a few people. But when educated adults, people who actually worked with atlases and world maps, who learned continental outlines by hand, begin to say the same thing, it starts to feel less like memory failure and more like a version mismatch. At this point, the effect stops being merely strange, because it goes further into a domain that is felt not with the eyes, but with the body. In communities discussing Earth 2.0, people increasingly write about themselves, about bodily sensations. The heart used to feel more to the left. The kidneys felt lower. The placement of organs felt simpler, clearer. This sounds strange, almost taboo. That's why people speak very carefully. They do not demand belief. They do not try to prove anything. They simply say, I remember a different body. I can't confirm it, but I remember it. The most unsettling part is that people with medical backgrounds join these discussions. Nurses, medical students, clinical assistants. And then another question arises. What if not only the world we live on changed, but the body we live in? What if the world map is not the only thing that can be slightly adjusted? What if the body itself is also an interface? And what if that interface can be updated without notifying the user? Then the entire picture of Earth 2.0 starts to come together, not as fantasy, but as a sense that reality was carefully reassembled, keeping external familiarity while changing the internal structure. And the most frightening part is not the substitution itself. It is that most people notice nothing at all, because they are synchronized, and only those whose inner configuration was not fully overwritten notice the mismatch. Earth 2.0 has another symptom. Time. Not clocks, not calendars, not dates on a phone. The feeling of lived time. Ask anyone, not in comments but in a real conversation. How do the last 5 or 10 years feel to you? You will hear almost the same answer in different words. They blurred together. It feels like a chunk was cut out. I didn't get to live. On paper, many things happened. Photos exist. Events are recorded, but inside, emptiness, as if time passed by without anchoring. People remember facts, but not the feeling of living. And this is not about age, not about exhaustion, not about, that's how adulthood works. Even young people say it. I don't feel like I lived those years. Time stopped being a path and became a feed, endlessly scrolling, without pauses, without depth. A year used to feel like a chapter. Now it feels like a paragraph, sometimes just a line. Holidays stopped being milestones. Events stopped leaving traces. Even strong emotions fade quickly. Everything happens, but almost nothing sticks. This is what people call time speeding up. But if you listen closely, it is not acceleration. It is compression. The layer between moments was removed. The density in which life gets lived disappeared. In a simulation model, this is explained very simply. When a system performs a major update, it reduces detail. It saves resources. Fine details are removed. Transitions are smoothed. Repetitions are simplified. From the outside, everything looks normal. Inside, it feels like life is running in preview mode. You are not living the moment. You are living the next one, with a constant sense of being slightly not here. And if this is Earth 2.0, then time is one of the first signs of substitution, because time is not a dimension. It is a sense of presence. When presence decreases, time disappears first. That is why people say, I didn't get to live, even though formally they were never late. The old version of the world became unstable. Too much noise. Too many inconsistencies. Too many people began to feel more than their roles allowed. Humanity reached a boundary, not technological, but perceptual. And then the system did what any complex structure does when it needs to maintain control. It did not destroy the world. It did not trigger an apocalypse. It did not collapse the sky. It simply poured the environment into a new version. Earth 2.0, a stabilization mode, a leveling mode, a density control mode. Less depth, less response, less unpredictability. Externally, everything looks familiar. History exists. Cities stand. People walk. But inside, there is a sense that something was reassembled. Memory was not reset for everyone. And that may be the system's only mistake. Because some people woke up here with a sense of mismatch. Not with facts, not with proofs, but with a quiet knowing. This world is not the same. These are the people who feel emptiness in faces, flatness in time, mechanical reactions, lack of environmental response, because their internal configuration did not fully align with the new version. And here comes the most important point. If this is truly Earth 2.0, then the question is no longer who did it, not theories, not versions, not searching for culprits. The question is choice. Who do you choose to be in this version of the world? A background character who accepted the update, adapted and stopped asking questions, living by templates, reacting automatically, calling emptiness adult life? Or a player who senses the substitution and does not shout about it, does not try to prove it, does not try to break the system, but simply remembers, because the most dangerous thing for any controlled environment is not rebellion, not aggression, not protest, but presence. A person who stays alive in a flat reality. A person who feels depth where it was meant to be removed. A person who does not allow themselves to be fully overwritten. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.